Hello, dear friends, and welcome. It's lovely to see you all here, and it's lovely to welcome all of those friends of ours who will be catching us either live on LinkedIn and on YouTube, or who will be catching a replay at some point. You're all welcome, and we are delighted that you choose to spend this time with us. Your feedback means so much to us. It means a lot knowing that our conversations are stirring something inside you and that you are contemplating these subjects that we are bringing here. I'm having some feedback, so if I could ask the participants here to mute themselves just for a moment before we start sharing. Today we're talking about very important subject perhaps that you wouldn't expect in the spectrum of our subjects, but subject nonetheless that is crucially important. We all know one of the two major commandments, right? Love thy neighbor as thyself. And in that we often miss one part, that second part. We miss the thyself. We miss how important, how crucially important that is. Because if we don't include ourselves in that equation of loving, of having compassion, of not criticizing, of building up rather than beating down, if we don't show up for ourselves like that, we cannot show up fully for another part of self. So I want to introduce this subject, and I want us to weave this subject of self-love, because it is a subject that brings healing. It is a subject that brings empowerment. It is a subject that connects us with the power within, to which we all have access to. This isn't something that we differ one from another. In this, we are all the same. We are equally capable. This inner power that we have inside us is powerful in the same way for you and you and you and you and you and you and all of you watching us. There is no difference. There is no I am more strong than you, I'm more capable, more talented, have more energy. No, that stream is available to all of us, and we need to tap into it. We have the obligation to ourselves and to the others if we really want to serve others, if we really want to have best friendships, if we want to have best relationships, if we want to build strong foundations. So that's my invitation to you, and I am looking forward to hearing what my panelists have to share here on this important subject. Who would like to go first? Don't be shy. I don't have a gut here, so someone's got to go first. I can see Ryan.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting till I'm done driving.
Okay. We'll wait for you, Tyler, not to worry. Ryan, do you want to go first?
I'm waiting till I start driving.
Okay.
Okay, so love thy neighbor as you love your neighbor as you love thyself. So what I want to do, I want to flip that on its head. Mm-hmm. So love thyself, then you can love your neighbor. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't know how to love yourself, mm-hmm. if you're not connected to the source of love, then how are you able to truly love your neighbor? And it says we have to love unconditionally. Now, if we love ourselves but we have doubt over ourselves, or we don't believe we can fulfill ourselves to the highest potential that we can be, mm-hmm. What does that mean when we go and look at our neighbor? Is it only a conditional part of our love? Have they got to do something to earn love? Or is it a case of, you know what, I love you no matter what? So even if you mess up, even if you fall short, but I will still love you because unconditionally. So for me, it's a thing of I need to be connected to the source of love,
Yes.
enabled to love myself, and then in order for me to love my neighbor. So it's get connected first, then you begin to love yourself, and then you can love your neighbor after that. And it's all like a connection in it.
Yes, yes. Beautiful. I love how you have expressed that. And I can see already that we are resonating here in what we have said. We really have to be careful how we are showing up for ourselves. And that doesn't mean that we have to suffer abuse from anybody else. We can move ourselves out of harm's way. We can still love them unconditionally. Right? But that love has to be complete in the first place, and it's only complete if we start with self. and self in a healthy way. So perhaps Mr. Movich will tell us more about how to correctly love ourselves, right? Without that element of vanity or arrogance or anything like that. We are removing that part. We're talking about healthy love for ourselves, which is a necessary part of this. Masara, do you want to?
Yes. Thank you. When I read that statement, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, we could discuss this for 1 year and we'll have a lot more to discuss.
Yeah.
Right? Because when I read it, for me, it just triggered the biblical phrase because of you using the word thy.
Yes.
And 40 years ago, when I was in school, I actually checked, it's actually 40 years ago. I was very good at the synoptic gospel, and it was a subject, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, that we did in school. And I didn't really like it because of how the teacher was just breaking down Bible verses and teaching stuff. And as a younger boy in Jamaica and in British Guyana, I went to youth gospel, right? So I had a totally different feeling with what we were taught and what happened. So when I hear love thy neighbor as thyself, neighbor is everything around you, everything, not just your neighbor.
Yes.
There's some naughty jokes about love thy neighbor, so it's everything that's next to you, everything that's near to you. See it, the tree, the ant, the insect, the stone, the appreciate everything around you, so this is where I'm seeing neighbor. Because usually the neighbor is the one who nerves you all the time. It's the one, oh my God, that neighbor, right? So loving yourself as thy neighbor can also have another twist. And this is where I'll take a pause, because we have to define what love is, so that we're talking about the same thing, because love can be interpreted in so many different ways, to the absolute 180 degrees.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Right? So yes.
Just for the sake of clarity, within the context of this group, I think what Ryan and I have outlined in the beginning, we're talking always here about unconditional love. We are talking about showing up fully for another, like for a friend. Because when we say neighbor, we mean a friend in the context of this community. Because
Okay.
we're building here relationships that are based on friendships that we can then build into our business and integrate from there. So that is the context I would
Okay.
ask us to keep
Yes.
here. But
That's
obviously, the
okay.
subject is, I understand it can be understood as a broader subject.
Exactly. Yes. Like also the animals, your pets, your cat,
Absolutely.
your
Absolutely.
dog,
The
you
whole
know.
natural world and everything
Yes.
surrounding. Yeah.
Yes, but if we reduce it like to business and to people, and yes, then absolutely correct. I also like to start with correct way, scientific way of thinking correctly. I like to throw in that scientific way of finding out the correct way to think, because we're manifesting everything. And yes, so to love yourself, and so that you mirror all the people you are attracting to you. So that's the best way, because you'll only attract people who are like you.
Yes. Any tips as to where do we start with self-love? Because I see a lot of struggle around us. I see a lot of pain and unnecessary suffering going on around, and I feel the root cause of this is the lack of compassion and love for ourselves, that we are leaving ourselves out of that equation.
Yes. And often it's self-denial,
Yeah.
you don't want to go
Criticism
there.
of self. Yes.
You don't want to go there, because loving yourself starts by asking yourself the question, what do I really need? What do I need for me? Right? And
Yes.
answering that question, you could run away from it and say, no, for my family, for this, for that. And you run away from yourself and you don't want to answer it. Yes. So loving yourself, finding out what it is that you really need, asking the question, and then actually doing it.
Yes.
So that, me time. You need that. And that me time starts with at least 10 minutes thinking about you and what you need.
Right.
Awareness of that is also enough.
That's it. Start there.
Yes.
Start there. I love that. So thank you for sharing that. Perhaps we should incorporate this subject, and maybe once a month we revisit this and build on this, because a lot of people struggle with love for oneself, the healthy expression of that love, because I'm absolutely certain, because I have experienced it. When I started paying attention to my own needs, I discovered so much more capacity to love others as well. So people close to me benefited from that, and I was like, wow, I was denying them that much love for not actually realizing this love for myself. So that's a big lesson that I have learned in my life. So if we can bring that, and also the healthy boundaries also, because a lot of people struggle with those two subjects. So perhaps that should be, because boundaries need to be there in friendships as in all other relationships.
Yes, without boundaries, without the frame, you can't see the picture.
Exactly. So perhaps these two subjects, here we are. I mean, we are completely transparent and authentic. We are constructing this group to fit the need of what we see it's present in the world, and what we see that our friends struggle with and need the most. Vinod, are you ready to share?
Actually, I would say, love is as important as, oxygen. Yeah.
Yes.
So this, as oxygen starts from our body, it is around us everywhere. But, when it, when it incorporates in us, then only we live. So, love is kind of oxygen for me. So loving ourselves is as important as oxygen. And this same applies to our neighbors or any other relationship, as in our family or you know, beyond the family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yes.
this is the thing. Yeah.
I understand it extends beyond just the family. It includes everyone, our friends. It includes strangers, people who we have never met, who meeting first time today, but we give them
Yeah.
that same love and respect. It is absolutely irrelevant how they reciprocate, and mostly people will reciprocate in a positive way if they are faced with this. But if whatever at whatever stage and state of consciousness they are at, we need to respect them there where they are. That doesn't say that we can't give them the same love as we do our family and our inner circle. I'm absolutely with you there.
Yeah.
Thank you so
I
much.
mean, yeah. It's. I mean, I feel like it's not as easy as, you know, but it is possible to love neighbors as you love yourself.
Yes, you
You know.
can
Yeah.
practice.
And before loving neighbors, we should, you know, love, respect ourselves first.
Yes, yes. So that means giving ourselves time to get to know ourselves. Taking time,
Yeah.
like Masara said, taking 10 minutes. Also understanding that um, relaxing, just eliminating stress from our life, just being more relaxed in our attitude. I love how you compared oxygen and love as one and the same. Like we're so sure that when we exhale, that the next breath we take in is just gonna be there for us. We are just, taking that for granted, right? But
Yeah.
how about we stop today to appreciate that? Maybe we'll do it at the end of this. At the end of this, maybe we could do it together. I'm eager to say what Tyler has to say. Were you able to hear us?
Yeah, absolutely. I heard mostly everything. I finally got to the office, so you can see my pretty face.
Yes.
But yeah, I love that he said it's important as oxygen, you know, because it is a basic human need that affects every aspect of our health, mental, physical, you know, everything. I took a few notes. So first, thank you for, you know, inspiring me and giving me the opportunity to be here and just allowing me to have this kind of introspective, you know, view on it. Um, you know, I always thought you had to love yourself before loving others was kind of a cliche until I actually felt that. And, you know, it was more recently, but I would call it more kind of peace with who I am, peace in my own skin, being able to be on my own, you know, things that we've talked about before. Not always needing that, you know, companion. Loving you can't, like, because it is true, you cannot love others until you love yourself. Because, like Masar said, you know, you have to know. You have to know who you are. You can't find that out unless you explore. You know, the greatest things in life are in the mystery. One of the most iconic phrases. Why? Why do you think? I think it's the golden rule. You know, we want to treat others. We want others to treat us the way we want to be treated. That's really what it comes down to.
Yes.
Getting the treatment and interaction, like I said, it's a basic human need. It affects everything. It's a nuanced subject, though.
Yes.
What if they treat you bad? You know, like you said, boundaries. You set boundaries. You have to set expectations. You know, if you know you've upheld your end of the golden rule, but they haven't, as people with such high capacity to love and so much to give to them, we have no choice to move on. You know, there's obviously nuanced situations where it's different severities, but I think this group is very discerning when it comes to those circumstances. So we kind of know when it's like, okay, well, you deserve a second chance, or hey, you know, that you deserve, you know, I don't know, I need to move on.
Yeah.
You know, if someone doesn't make you feel like or able to match, as you would say, you know, your capacity to love, to be compassionate, and to be, you know, their introspective self, if they're not able to let you allow you to be your best version of those things, we have to just let them go, because as ourselves, bad treatment isn't going to allow self-love.
Right. Exactly.
So my main thing is talking on those boundaries. But I love what Masara said as well, about neighbors not just being people around you.
Yes.
It's everything, those emotions that come to you when you unwanted or not, you have to realize that and nip it in the bud. And
Tyler, we have a little bit of a choppy connection, so I'm going to I think you made some wonderful points there. So if we can put a nice bookmark there, and we will definitely come and revisit this subject again, so we can share more. Just want to be respectful of everybody's time. We have allowed this talk today to go 5 minutes over time. But that is because we have started an important subject here, and I want to invite everyone to respond to yourself today and to life in a positive way. However you translate that today, go into your day, whatever, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening where you are. Give yourself maybe 5-10 minutes just for yourself. Just ask yourself, is this pleasing to me? Is this activity pleasing to me? And maybe perhaps whisper to yourself, I love you and all is well. And thank you for showing up here. We will be back next Friday. Wishing you the best weekend, and thank you so much, dear friends, for showing up here, for sharing your insights and your wisdom, and for inspiring others in a huge way. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.